2358, the McCann petition. And I'll take at the same time as D 23060, the Taft petition. McCann's request is variation to reduce the interior side setback from 3 feet to approximately 0 feet for a proposed fence on the property line. And similarly, the Taft petition is variation to reduce the interior side setback from 3 feet to approximately 0 feet for proposed fence on the property line. And I don't know which is which here. I have a survey site plan. Well, I guess it's just kind of a penciled up site plan, which I'll take as petitioner's exhibit number 2. And Taft. And then the survey will be exhibit 1. I also have survey and a site plan for the companion case, exhibit 1 and exhibit 2, survey 1, site plan 2. So let's hear from, I guess, Mr. McCann first.
Yes. So essentially, I've got a concrete driveway that makes it impossible for me to replace the fence that I currently share with my neighbor, Mr. Taft. I can't put it up without, it's too close. It's right on the property line. So I need to put part of the fence on his property and part of the, and then it will, after the concrete driveway, if you can see that plat of survey, it'll angle in to my property as it gets close to my garage. And we need the variance because obviously we can't cross over the property lines without encroaching on the 3-inch setback on his property as well as the 3-inch setback on my property.
That's not too clear to me. So from the point on your property line, from the point where your garage fronts, you want to go to a 0 property line, and it's because you have a concrete driveway there?
Yes, if you look at the towards, if you go, I don't know what direction it is, but away from the away from the garage, right? You'll see that there's a concrete driveway there.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So that's what's right up at the property line, and that's why I can't put the fence on entirely on my property.
Okay.
There is a fence there already, though, that will be replaced.
Okay, and can I also hear from, is it Mr. Taft?
Yes, Steve. Yeah.
And what's your situation, sir?
I'm just cooperating with my good neighbor Josh, and I think I'm just involved because 3 inches is going to be on my property, I guess. So, and I'm okay with that. I guess I have no problem.
Are you building a fence?
It's
you're going to share a fence, one common fence.
Yes.
And whose property? It's going to be on the property line?
Correct.
Well,
for parts of it, right, Josh? It's not the.
Yeah, right. Do you see how after the, and I don't mean to speak out of turn, if I'm being helpful, if you want me to stop, let me know.
No, go right ahead.
Okay, so if you look, so you've got the concrete driveway, which is basically on the, it's maybe an inch on my side of the property, and I have to go down that span of or that distance until you'll see that my concrete driveway starts to angle into the garage, right? And so I don't know exactly how the builder is going to do it, but I envision that after the driveway opens up, then it'll gradually start to go on more on my property. And then probably right on the, how should I put this? So it would be, I think ideally, the after it gets past that part of the concrete driveway, it'll go on my property, but there'll still be it'll still violate the 3-inch setback rule. But the plan is that it would be still on my side of the property at that point.
And on the property line ahead of that.
And on the property line, or actually, in fact, on Steve's property line, the pillars are 5 inches, the posts. So it would go 5 inches on his property. Until, just for that narrow stretch of the driveway that's towards the house.
Conceptually, I don't think, this is really problematic. So I'm somewhat sympathetic to your request. Because of the existence of the concrete drive, I suppose some stretch, you satisfy the hardship requirement, although it's a self-made hardship, so that's a little problematic. But my issue is, I need a more, you guys have kind of penciled up an old survey, and we need something somewhat more definitive. So that I'm granting a variation which lasts forever if I grant this. And it seems to me that we need something a little more definitive, like a more precise drawing. I'm not insisting that it be done by an engineer, because it's probably not necessary to go to that expense. But we need a little more, little pencil X's and yellow markers really don't get the job done here.
Okay, I'll try and figure out how to do that. The thing is that's what Steve and I had. We both bought our houses recently, and I didn't put this driveway up. We bought our houses about 3 years ago, almost at the same time. And so those are that's the plat of survey from the closing documents that we had.
Right.
Yeah. So if you could just give me a little guidance to what you want, maybe just maybe more precise.
Well, ideally, I'd like an engineering drawing, but you gotta clean this up. If we're not going to insist on an engineering drawing, you got to get all the sort of the scribbling text out of here, and
Okay.
And just come as close as you can to what an engineering drawing would look like.
Okay.
And show precisely the sort of the footprint of the fence, as well as how, where it is in relation to the property line, etc. And
okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
How your house is not a true north and south, but let's call it the fence proceeds on one property to the northeast. I need to know for the wording of the ordinance as to what's being approved, what that distance is from the rear property.
Okay, the distance of the
In other words, I don't know how it's your it looks like your lot is 150 feet deep totally. Well, how much of that is taken up with this fence? Because I can't grant a variation in the side yard, which implies the entirety of the side yard.
right.
So I need to be precise about the description, and you're going to have to help me with that precision.
I can do that.
Okay. Well, and the same is true on the other side as well.
Yep, I'll do it for both the plat surveys for both Steve and my property.
Okay.
And
When do you propose to build this?
well, the fencing is on back order. My neighbor in back just had the same fence put in with the same contractor, and he got his permit right away, and that was like 5 months ago, and he just got it put up. So
So I'm not holding you up if I delay this a couple of weeks.
not at all.
Okay, well then,
Would we have to come back for another hearing, or can you just?
no, as soon as
Okay.
you submit the revised drawing,
Mhm.
only change in the drawing is gonna be somewhat more descriptive. As soon as that's done, I will make it the exhibit to this hearing file, make my recommendation, and then the county development committee will, hear the case in accordance with their schedule as soon as I'm done, but I can't complete my work until I get the revised exhibits. And I don't need a new survey, just the site plan.
Understood. I'll try and get you something that I think you'll be happier with, and if you're not, maybe Jessica could give me some guidance, but I think I'll be able to take care of it.
If she doesn't give you guidance, she'll give me guidance, and then she'll just tell me
Okay.
quiet and be happy. Okay, great.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll
Right.
get that. I'm going to do that right away.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, those guys.
Bye.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Are all of you folks here for the Murphy case?
Yes,
Yes.
and they all were sworn in and they all received the letter that was sent out by the county.
Kathy, I invited Lee from the fence company to verify any particulars about it. He wasn't here at the time of swearing in, so just,
All right, well, I don't know if I'm gonna need them. We'll see. If we do, we're in then. I'm gonna call Z 23-062 the Murphy petition. This is a request for variation to allow a 6'6", 100% closed privacy fence within the 10-foot corner side yard setback. Property is about 1/3 of an acre. The matter was published in the Daily Herald on September 12, 2023. I have no comments or objections from any of the authorities to whom we had circulated the petition. Let's see, when I start with my survey as exhibit 1. A site plan is exhibit 2. And then I have some photos which I'll take as group exhibit 3, consisting of I don't know what this is, but there's 4 photos and then a photo of what looks to be a site plan or something. In any case, they're all group exhibit 3. Mr. Murphy, are you representing yourself?
yes,
All right, so tell me what's going on. First of all, how long have you lived at the house?
I've owned the property for 6 years.
And who do you live there with?
My wife, 2 children, and 3 dogs.
Okay. And why do you make this request?
I'm making the request out of, wanting to have, full privacy for my small children, animals, ourselves, as well as get full use and enjoyment of the entire property. Recognizing that it does request, 2 grounds for variance under the ordinance, but based on the specific, situation of the property, it doesn't impose any impairment that would, at least in my view, that would prevent the granting of the variation. So it's worth asking for.
Sort of no harm, no foul.
We have it's asking for approximately 800 square feet of additional space within a fenced in area that, having as much room behind the fence and in the side yard where the kids love to play. and protecting them from that side street that can at times act as a, highway when people are trying to cut through off of the traffic flow of 55th, morning and night, is something that I deem essential for their safety.
Okay, and just for the record, would such a fence impose a line of sight or traffic issue at any point?
I do not believe so, and I reference the current line of trees and growth that exists on the outside of my property line that's up to 30 feet, rather thick, and otherwise meets all, ordinance and HOA requirements of the neighborhood, and doesn't violate any other, anything to the best of my knowledge. So, and just for reference, group, the exhibit group 3 are just pictures from different angles of Lakeside Avenue and Monroe Street, the side yard, and the growth that is along the side yard.
And there's the one that shows the stop sign and the line of trees.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I don't know where that is. I don't see.
That's on the southwest corner of Lakeside and Monroe's intersection.
And so is there a proposed fence there?
No, as if you're, I don't know if you can tell from the photos submitted, but that sits behind the existing, trees and shrubbery or vegetation that stands 30 feet tall.
Okay. Ms. Walsh, is there anything that I see there's a couple of people with you. You have any comments?
Yeah, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm here with several neighbors that Chris has spoken to regarding the proposed fence. And my first question to you is, what are the 2 variances that are being requested?
Exactly what I read. 6'6", 100% closed privacy fence within the 10-foot corner side yard setback.
So is the 6'6" a problem? Is that requiring a variance, the height?
Yeah.
And I allow Lee to verify this, but I believe I went within the maximum and should have wrote in up to 6'6", but I believe the fence stands 6 feet tall.
Okay, so I guess you said there's
6'6".
Okay, so when you said there's 2 grounds for
Yep.
the variance for the ordinance, what are those 2?
So what we are seeking to do, and I believe this should be, as we discussed on the survey that I provided you the other night, the ordinance would allow for a fence of up to 4.5 feet tall that's 50% open to be built within 3 inches of the property line. We would like to put a fence that's 6 feet tall and 100% closed up to 3 inches within the property line. Now, I think with what was sent out, it's unclear that the property line sits about 20 feet back from the actual curb on Lakeside Avenue. To where I could understand a concern of putting a fence that size right up into the curb. But the fence itself will sit behind all of the, at least 10 feet behind where that tree line is.
So if I'm correct, because we were all discussing this prior to coming on the meeting.
Mhm.
So basically you're asking to put a 6 foot, up to 6 foot, completely enclosed fence within 3 inches of the property line. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
Okay, and if you put in a 4.5 foot fence that's 50% open, you could come into within 3 feet of the property line? Is that?
3 inches. 3 inches.
3 inches, okay. Okay. Okay,
No, just for sake of discussion, I could put in that 50% open 4.5 foot fence and put 30-foot tree line straight across straight across the fence line on the inside. And that would be, fully allowable.
Mhm. So does anybody want to talk here? They all were
You
sworn
know
in.
what, I don't get that. You're asking other people, does anybody want to talk? You guys object or? you
So everybody's here with various opinions. I don't speak for
We're
the group.
concerned with the line of sight as far as daylighting of the intersection going, with people speeding through the neighborhood. They often blow that stop sign and somebody might not even see them then coming.
And we don't have sidewalks. And we have people walking dogs, we have kids on bikes, we have all that.
You know,
So really,
no idea who's talking, now who's talking.
I'm Teresa and I say it's a safety.
Tell them where you
issue.
live.
I live I live on Monroe Street and I can see the stop sign at Monroe and Lakeside. I see all of the safety issues with it. Kids riding bikes, people not stopping the stop sign. The sight line right now with all those trees that I don't know whose they are that should be cut down. There's a lot of people that are I've almost gotten hurt walking.
I don't want to.
Question, if I may.
Oh, Mr. Murphy, hold on.
Okay.
This is not a debate.
No, I know.
I want to know, the last lady that spoke, I want you to spell your last name and tell us your address.
Teresa Landry, Landry, 5653 Monroe, Hinsdale.
And you object to this petition because of safety concerns and possible line of sight issues, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. Anybody else?
Yes, Don Schultz, 610 Lakeside Drive. I object, and I'm an area director of our association here, Gulfview Hills. And I object because of the site of, and putting the wall in the way he has it, the way he wants it.
You object because of the safety and line of sight issues?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And
Can
what about the man in the back?
I'm Teresa's husband,
Say your name.
Orville.
You agree with her?
Yes,
All right, fine.
first name's Orville.
Okay, and then Mr. Murphy, your response?
I'd like to ask if any of the people and the neighbors who have just, stated this objection to the fence being installed have filed an actual complaint with the county to remove the trees prior to this petition for a fence.
Okay, I'm not interested in that information.
Okay, but fair enough.
I understand. Any closing remarks, Mr. Murphy?
I think this meets all requirements for a variance to be granted. I'm looking to do this for, obviously the safety of my children. The street that's on that side is a danger, but the fence will not impose any further burden than is imposed by the tree line that are there that no one has previously tried to remove. So I don't see an issue with it or any conflict with, the grounds for granting a variation.
And then Bob, Kathy Walsh, I haven't spoken.
You haven't?
No.
Okay,
Okay.
I understood you objected for all the reasons that you indicated.
Well, I do. And then, Chris talks about the privacy and everything for his children, and I totally get that, but he could do a privacy fence without going in 10 feet and closer to the street. And so I don't understand, the privacy doesn't really change where the fence is located.
Okay. Mr. Murphy, I thought we were done with comments, but I have to go to you at the end. So you can make a response to that, or you can make a final statement.
We would like to, maximize the space within the protected area for our children, and 800 extra square feet, all things considered, is a significant amount of space. And, we'd like to maximize it and get the full use of the property. And if it doesn't cause any sort of impairment or burden to the streetway, or, that isn't already imposed, I don't see an issue with requesting the variation.
Okay, in order to be granted a variation, you have to show a hardship. You kind of indicated, I mean, there's 7 other standards, but the principal underlying requirement is that you show a hardship. I've had many similar variation requests, and I've always heard about traffic issues. Oftentimes, cars running into the side of somebody's yard or whatever, or difficulties with foot traffic and suspicious people creating a hazard. Yours seems to be a little speculative. You haven't talked about any such issues.
Well, we've discussed, the super highway that exists from time to time because, maintaining traffic flow through the neighborhood and the spillover from 55th. My children love the side yard, and I'd like to maximize the area that they have there to spend time. So I can actually attend to things and not have to watch them and deal with the burden of playing traffic cop, as I've done on behalf of the neighborhood. Frankly,
if you're not changing the setback of the fence, only the height and opacity, how does that increase the yard by 800 square feet?
Well, the 6 foot fence that's 100% closed has to be 10 feet from the property line.
Right.
And I'm seeking to move that fence to the proper within 3 inches of the property line.
Oh, okay. All right, I understand what your point is.
And frankly, putting a fence at that point, if we want to talk hardship, I'd be putting a fence straight down the middle of the side yard, which would have it, which, quite frankly, is an eyesore, which may make it difficult to sell the home in the future as a future of the home.
All right, you'll get a text or an email copy of my decision within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You sure did.
This is Z 23-065 Hammersmith, a request for conditional use to increase the total permitted area of detached accessory buildings from 850 square feet to approximately 924 square feet, where it has existed for 5 years. Secondly, a conditional use to reduce the rear setback from existing shed from the permitted 3 feet to 1.8 feet, where it has existed for 5 years or more. Matter was published in the Daily Herald on September 12, 2023. And who are you folks?
I'm Dale Hammersmith.
And you?
I am Kathleen Ketchner.
Okay, are you gonna testify?
I am here because it's my mother's property with her brother.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay. Would you raise your hands and be sworn in, please?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony and evidence you're about to give at this time shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I have a survey of exhibit 1, and since this is all existing, I presume this is a combined survey site plan, and then I have group exhibit 2, which is a series of photographs that look pretty similar. Okay, who's gonna make the presentation?
I don't know about a presentation. I got this notice in my mailbox on Monday.
Okay,
So
you're Mr. Hammersmith?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
The shed has been there actually it's been there for like 20 years. It's less than 2 feet from the property. That's why I had a current survey done, so we would have something to at least show that. And I'm just asking for a variance on the overall square foot. There's also a shed where your pen is. And I definitely will remove that, actually this weekend. So that increased the square footage, but the garage itself, and then with the other shed that would be to your left, which is 150 square foot, yeah. That's what I'm asking, if that can be allowed, those two, and if we can have the variance of the back being just closer to the fence that way.
Okay, let's talk about this shed that's gonna survive.
Yes, sir.
It says frame shed on the survey.
Yes, sir.
What's the condition if it's, you said it's 20 years old?
Yeah, but that's the current pictures, which you can, it was suggested that I would take some pictures so it could be shown. I thought there are definitely, different angles,
Oh.
not just that one, but the condition is, perfect.
Okay. What do you keep in the shed?
The lawnmower, the garden tools, things like that.
What's the base of the shed?
It's wood,
Oh, the floor?
it's 3/4 plywood.
Oh, it's a plywood floor?
Yes, sir.
And tell me why you can't move it?
It's only because I have there's shrubbery in the front of it. I would actually elect to just cut off 16 inches off the back of it no, I'm not making a joke. The fact that it's been there so long, my wife has, honeysuckle and all of her, different garden
Yeah.
things there.
Who lives at the property?
Just myself and my wife.
And do you have a business, sir, or what do you
No,
do for a living?
I'm retired.
Retired?
Yes,
And your wife, no business?
no.
So a condition of granting any similar case is that no business be
No, sir.
conducted from the property. In other words, I don't grant oversized buildings of any magnitude in order to operate a business. You
Understood.
can't operate a business.
No, we've been there since 1981, and we have no intentions of
Any
moving.
utilities to the shed?
There is electric to the shed for a
Okay.
light, 110 volts.
And do you have any comments?
I just want to make sure everything's fine for my mom's property. This is an estate at this point, and I don't want anything that's going to affect the value of the property. Because I don't think it's going to be something that we're going to hold on to for, years down the road.
So are you a tenant?
I've owned the property since 81.
I'm talking about our property.
Which is your property?
I was sent a letter that I'm supposed to come because it's
Oh,
close
okay.
to our property.
Yeah, well, anybody within, I think 300 feet gets a notice of any
Mhm.
condition. I can't tell you whether this affects the value of the property. I mean,
Okay,
I'm not saying that it does, or
Yeah.
even implying that it
Uh-huh.
does, but, I don't
just
want,
because in the future, it might be something that the new owner has a problem with. If it's something that's getting a variance so that he
it's
can
not a
keep a
variance,
shed.
it's a conditional use.
Okay, so can you tell me the difference? I'm not a lawyer or
Well, in practical terms, there isn't much difference, except that in very practical reality is that a variance lasts forever and a conditional use at the time period.
okay,
The reason I ask questions about the condition of the shed is that if the shed was built 50 years ago and in poor condition, I would grant, 6 months in order to come into compliance and remove the shed. The maximum that I grant is 10 years. I'm inclined to favor this petition. I will undoubtedly make a final determination in accordance with that. It is a conditional use, and the first word there is condition, so there will be conditions of business operated, etc. There's only one more. No, I've satisfied that. I was gonna ask you what you keep in your garage, but as long as you don't operate a business, I'm satisfied. So, my inclination is to, because of the condition of the shed, grant
the requests with a 10-year time limit. Now, that means 10 years from now, you gotta come back here and do this again.
Okay.
If everything goes according to schedule, maybe they change the rules, I don't know. I know I won't be here in 10 years. Although I've been here for a darn long time already. But I'm not gonna be here in this case any longer because I got what I need. You'll get an official determination by email within the next couple of weeks. And then the matter goes up to the development committee and the full county board. So it'll probably be resolved end of October.
Thank you very much for your time.
Great, thank you. Nice to meet you.
And 1 second, everyone.
How you doing?
Hello. You're with Manpower?
Yeah.
Okay, there. So you ready to go?
Hi.
Hello.
You're gonna come over, Melissa?
Yeah, you could just weren't sworn in about anybody. All right, great, nice.
Everyone online was sworn in except for Gasper. You know, there's more people.
Okay, this is the
Steve, anywhere?
I'm the last one.
Okay.
this is the Ruth Lake Country Club petition. We have a request for variation of the front yard setback from 30 feet to approximately 18 feet for the construction of 2 recreational pickleball courts. The matter was published in the Daily Herald on September 12, 2023. And I have a letter from Burr Ridge in the file, which raises some concerns, but no objections from any of the departments of the county or the neighboring authorities to whom we've circulated the petition. I have just been handed a stack of stuff. I have a survey, which is a little bit not particularly helpful. I'll take that as exhibit number 1. Then I have a site plan of a certain section of the property comprised of 153 acres, as I remember, which I'll take as exhibit 2. These other documents I'll take as necessary, if necessary, when we get to the testimony. So my name is Bob Cartel. I'm the zoning hearing officer. Everybody that's gonna testify in this case or make a statement of any kind, please raise your hand and be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony and evidence you're about to give at this time shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Now, who is presenting? And who are you, sir?
Hubert Loftus, with the Manhart Consulting. Kevin Kennebec, who's online there, was just gonna provide an overview from Ruth Lake's point of view of what the proposal is. Okay.
Well, whoever's right in.
Kevin,
Sure. Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for this opportunity. We at Ruth Lake Country Club are looking to install 2 pickleball courts in the southeast corner of our property, adjacent to our platform tennis complex. They would be built in a grassy area that's just north of our platform tennis courts that you'll see on the map there. Obviously, we want to continue to move forward and offer our membership these great amenities here at the club, and this is just an additional amenity that we can provide to keep our club vibrant and attractive and successful. You may know that pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America, and it's something we want to bring to our members. And it's in an area that we believe that really won't affect anything inside or outside of our property. It's in a location that we don't intend to use for anything else. And we have all the necessary things to complete this project there, and don't believe it affects anything outside of the gate along that Madison Street area.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
What's your position, sir?
I'm the general manager of the club.
Okay. All right, go right ahead.
Okay, so, would it help to put it up on the screen, the site plan, or do you put the site plan you talked about? Or
No, I have the site.
Oh, okay. So, as shown in the site plan, we located the two courts per their regulation size, and tried to fit it between some existing evergreens that you see south of the courts. There's also some drainage catch basin, so it's kind of a drainage area. So that set our south side, and then at the northwest corner, we're coming up against the existing parking area, and there's a vertical drop there too that we need to place the courts. So the courts are going to be down a couple of feet from that corner. So
Does the vertical drop suggest the need for an exhibit here that I saw as the topography plans? I mean, I just looked through this.
yeah, there's a grading plan on there.
Why don't you, is that this one that you're talking about?
Yeah. So we could pop it on the screen too if you like.
Okay, I'm gonna take this as petitioner's exhibit 3. And I'll call it a grading plan.
Okay. So as shown on the grading plan, at the north west corner of the proposed courts is, I think it's a couple feet lower than the parking lot. So we're proposing, we've got about a 4.5 green space area to drop a little bit of elevation. And then we're gonna have a little piece of concrete curb elevated to set that corner. So we've kind of pushed it as down as we can and as close to the parking as we can. And the other northern restriction is some more trees and the entrance feature of the club. So that's kind of how it got located. And you can see that in order to avoid the parking drop down from that corner, we're encroaching on the 30-foot setback along Madison by 12 feet. And to mitigate that, we're Ruth Lake's proposing to put up evergreens all along that row to provide some screening to mitigate the closeness of it. It's not, there's no structure or building or anything. It's going to be fenced. There's no lighting proposed, so it's more or less pavement, but some open air, fencing. It'll be screened.
This done as a conditional use. A variation lasts forever. A conditional use can have a time limit. I don't impose strict time limits, short time limits for new construction, but I'm concerned about the issues that Village of Burr Ridge raises concerning light and noise. I cannot impose conditions on a variation request. I can, of course, on conditional uses. In addition to the time limit, it can require that there be no lighting and the fence line, the tree line that you suggest as well. So we'll explore that. Is there anything else you wanted to?
No, that's the gist of it.
And you sort of told me kind of the engineering highlights, but the zoning issues, you have not, the zoning requirements, you really haven't
Yeah, I'm sorry, we can go through those. You want me just to?
I don't want you to read the list and say we comply, we comply, we comply.
No, I get
But
you.
why don't you tell me the hardship?
Okay, so the difficulty or hardship in placing the pickleball courts is the location of the courts is the kind of reference is bounded by an existing parking lot to the west, the monument sign to the north, and then obviously Madison over here, and then to the south, we have those existing trees that we want to maintain or save, and also there's a drainage way. This is a low-lying area, so that's where the water's collected. So that's what's kind of boxing us in.
Okay.
Those are the restraints.
And the rest of the 153 acres is all full up?
Well, it's a lot of golf course.
Yeah.
This is the logical place to place the pickleball courts adjacent to the paddle court facilities and with sufficient parking for the number of people who are going to use both facilities.
Okay. Is there anybody else that's part of the petitioner's presentation? Or all of the rest of you just interested parties that may or may not want to make a statement?
My name is Fred Seeholzer. I'm the president of Ruth Lake Woods Condominium Association. We're the neighbors directly to the south.
All right.
And we have no objection to the variance. We're here more to observe the other part, the parking, other parts of it that are away from Madison, but we share a property line with them to the south. So we're here to observe and listen, but from a standpoint of the variance, we have no objection.
And has your board taken a official position, or is this sort of a straw poll?
Well, I think we have a majority of the board.
majority here.
I'm not agreeing.
She's a board member that she can introduce herself and she can speak for herself, but we have a board of 5 and we have a majority that.
I probably need some kind of a resolution or something. Ordinarily, we ask for a letterhead statement of a position or a copy of a resolution.
Okay,
So if you could give me a letterhead that explains it,
okay,
I would appreciate that. And I'm gonna assume for the sake of argument that it's gonna be not a unanimous.
it'll be a majority, not a unanimous,
Right.
I'm guessing.
So you could, I'll take your testimony as individuals. When the letter comes, I'll take it as the position of the board.
Right.
And then you can make a statement as to your individual position. Would you tell us your name and?
My name is
address?
Sheila McDermott, and I back up maybe over here, which is fine. I have a number of questions.
You're, okay, hold on. You're adjacent to the
Yes.
country club? Okay.
Yes, but little, well, maybe here. I see the stuff
that's
here
not
from my bedroom window, so I'm sorry, I'm probably there.
Okay, that's not gonna translate very well
You
in
want
our
an address?
recording. Yeah, tell us your address.
Oh, 60 Godair, Godair Drive.
Okay.
Okay, so
And you have questions or?
I have a lot of comments.
Well, let's hear,
Okay, I'm very concerned now, this, sorry, I forgot to remember your first name. Indicates that you're not planning lighting. That only means you're not planning lighting at this time. Once the variation's allowed, they pretty much will do what they want because the other courts are there. That's only one of a number of other things. The lighting, the noise, there's a lot of noise from the other courts. I would like to see this staked out. So somebody could walk over and see, you don't have to, but there could be 4 little squirts in the grass or something, so you could see where it is.
you'd like to see what?
The proposal for the new courts staked out. Or
I can't do
marked or something, so we would have a better conception of
It's on the
what's,
site plan. I can't do that.
well. And I understand, so I can walk over there and look at, see where they're gonna put it. It's a
If
private
you-
club.
Well, if I were you, I'd knock on their door first.
Okay. But I'd like to know how many trees have to come down to do this.
Yeah, are you taking out any trees?
Yeah, there are a couple of trees in here. Mike, do you have that count?
It's two
Yeah,
trees.
It's two, yep.
Two trees.
So we have to take down 2 trees.
Two, is that the big one right at the front of the door? On the west side?
Let's change your vote.
They're nowhere near her property, the trees that are coming down. They're at the front entrance to the club on the north side in the lawn area where the courts are going to be built.
Is that one of the big maple tree that's there, the very large tree?
No, that's one linden tree and one other small tree that would come down. I would make comment that the maple tree near her property is in decline and is dangerous right now, but that has nothing to do with this construction.
I'm talking about the maple tree at
I
the
didn't
entrance
mention that. to
along
you.
Madison.
Mr. Marco, I think it's Mr. Marco that has answered some questions here. Could you?
Yes.
tell Who you are?
Yeah, I apologize. I should have introduced myself earlier. I was just being observant. I represent Ruth Lake Country Club as the golf course superintendent. So I'm the grounds superintendent.
Okay, thank you. Somebody else chimed in, but I don't know.
I'm Bill Gasper. I'm a resident right across the street from the paddleball courts. One of my concerns, it has to do with the big maple tree that's out there, and it was indicated that will stay, but it seems like it's right in the path of some of the construction.
I honestly wasn't quite.
I understand that.
That's okay.
There is no big maple tree in the path of construction for the pickleball courts. There's a very large, beautiful walnut tree outside of the club that is on the fence line that will not be even remotely impacted.
Mr. Gasper, I thought I didn't really quite hear what you said earlier. I was trying to get your identity for the record because you made some comment earlier. Can you repeat that comment so that we have a clean record here?
My comment was, my name is Bill Gasper. I live across the street from the paddleball courts. And one of my concerns has to do with the trees that are there and how they'll be impacted.
Okay. This is turning into chaos. I wanted to get your name for the sole purpose of identifying you as to the comment that you proposed during somebody else's testimony. I haven't come to you for comment because this lady is still making comments, but you've kind of proceeded with your comments, so tell us your address.
What I had talked about before was the existence of the maple tree and other trees there. That was what I had said.
All right, thanks. And what's your address, sir?
6200 South Madison, Burr Ridge.
Okay, and then let's go back to this lady.
All right, I wanted to ask about the parking and point out something. Sunday, which is probably the most gorgeous day of the year, at 2 o'clock, I went and checked. There's 26 parking spaces, 12 here and another 16 here. The 4 courts were in use, and there were 4 vacant spaces here. So if you figure that 4 courts need 22 people, 2 spaces, you're going to add 2 more courts. So you figure you're going to need an additional 11 spaces. It might come if they take this down, and it might not. At this point, it's there. The other thing I will point out, at the same hour, I went over to the tennis courts, which are on the north side of the complex. Nobody, no one was there. No one was playing, nothing. So there is obviously something that maybe would be a better location for this. First, I am totally against the variance because for the exact rates you say, a variance is forever. Maybe the other suggestion you made, I can't think what you called it, but conditional use would be a better suggestion, better something for them to ask. Someday they might want to widen Madison, and then what are we going to do? I mean, the traffic on Madison is increasing. So, I mean, the lights.
Okay.
So that's I think that's all there is.
All right.
If I need more, I'll send you a letter.
That's a deal. All right, is there anyone left that wants to make a comment about this case? No? Well, we're gonna have to be a little creative in order to determine whether we can consider this for the lesser treatment of conditional use, which means it would not have to be republicized and reheard. But we should be able to do that in short order, and I can simply incorporate it into a decision. Not, if somebody comes in and says they want to build a bigger garage, it's not my job to determine whether or not they need a garage, nor is it my province to determine whether or not you guys need pickleball courts. I don't understand pickleball. But I guess it's here to stay, as will this location of these courts if a variation is granted. So my only concern is the location and whether or not infringing into the setback will compromise the property rights of the neighbors. And that's the same issues that Burr Ridge raised, really principally noise and lights, which is ameliorated by the tree line and the indication that you don't propose lights. So if I can work with all of that, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, you've mentioned the Burr Ridge, and there was also, they said something about traffic concerns, that the people using these courts are the same people who use the club, so there's really no significant impact on it.
Yeah, you have a fixed membership. You have a limited membership?
We do.
What's the number of members?
475 families.
That's a big number.
It's actually smaller than most of your 18-hole clubs around Chicago.
Really?
It is.
Does that include social members and members of all categories?
It does, all categories, including some out-of-town members that are here very rarely.
Okay. Well, then it's not that big of a number. All right, I understand your request and the rationalizations and answers that you've proposed for the as to the zoning requirements, so I'll take it under advisement and make a decision in the next couple of weeks. You'll get that decision. My process takes a couple of weeks. By the time it gets put in a written form, and you'll get that notice by email. Anyone can have access. I'm not really able to go forward with the position of the homeowners association until I get a letter from the homeowners association, but you can just transmit that also by email to Jessica.
Okay,
Because we've been in touch.
email address,
Actually,
it's all in here?
Yep.
Okay, I'll do that, okay.
That's all I have, unless you have any closing statements.
No, that's it. Well, look forward to your decision. Thank you.
You understand the process from here, development committee, and then full county board. So I think this should be resolved by the end of October.
Yeah, we're looking at starting construction in the spring, so.
Yeah, I didn't think you were gonna get to it much before then. All right, we'll close the hearing. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.